Ice cream topped with shrimps and prawns, Coke and chicken, ice cream and fries, cheese in all sorts of street foods. These have to be some of the weirdest food combinations and trends emerging across the world. Today's video is about food incompatibilities and their effects on human health. The changing face of dietetics because of living in a globalized world and people leaving behind the codes and conducts of eating has not just led to the degradation of human health, it has also given birth to diseases that didn't seem to exist a few decades ago. Sure, evolution happens, but aren't we supposed to leave what's bad and adopt what's good or better as we evolve? What's happening, unfortunately, is the exact opposite. While average lifespans have increased over the past 100 years, there has also been a degradation in the quality of life and an alarming rise in metabolic disorders and autoimmune diseases, the cause for most of whom remains unknown from the modern perspective. Ayurveda, however, offers a logical and scientific approach for determining correct diet based upon an individual's constitution. This approach is quite different from the Western view of a balanced diet, that is, eating everything from the basic food groups like meat, dairy, fruit, grains, and vegetables on a daily basis. According to Ayurvedic literature, such a diet plan is not really sufficient to lead us to the path of good health. What we are globally facing at the moment is a major change in the way we eat, the amount we eat, the combinations we make, and the way we digest. The food menu in restaurants and hotels, for instance, has undergone a massive change in the last few years. Most of the combinations are unwholesome, incompatible, but then the taste is too titillating to the taste buds, and so exercising control becomes more than hard. Well, the theory of food incompatibility can be traced in Charak and Sushruta Samhita and Ashtanga by the term Viruddhahar. Let's hear the definition of Viruddhahar. Yat kinchit dravyam dosham utkleshayati natu nirharati tat sarvam viruddham. Ashtanga Sutra 7. That which augments or dislodges the doshas but is neither accepted by the body nor expelled outside the body, thus leading to the vitiation of dhatus or tissues, is considered as viruddha. Per Ayurveda, every food has its own taste, potency, and post-digestive effect. When 2 or 3 different food substances of different rasa, virya, and vipaka are combined together, Agni can become overloaded, inhibiting the enzyme system, resulting in the production of certain toxic substances which can neither be digested by the body nor be expelled outside. So, Viruddhahar is the food which interrupts the metabolism of tissues, inhibits the process of formation of tissues, and which has properties opposite to that of the tissues. As detailed as things can get, Ayurveda always takes us by surprise when it comes to its in-depth concepts. Viruddhahar is not just restricted to combinations. Charak Samhita in fact lists 18 types of Viruddhahar. So you see, incompatibility is not merely about wrong food combinations. There are 17 other aspects to food incompatibility. Desha Viruddha, Kala Viruddha, Agni Viruddha, Matra Viruddha, Satmya Viruddha, Dosha Viruddha, Sanskara Viruddha, Virya Viruddha, Koshtha Viruddha, Avastha Viruddha, Krama Viruddha, Parihara Viruddha, Upachara Viruddha, Paka Viruddha, Sanyoga Viruddha, Rit Viruddha, Sampat Viruddha, and Vidhi Viruddha. To give you a faint idea of what the other types of incompatibilities look like, eating dry, raw, cold, uncooked foods when you are severely exhausted is an example of Avastha Viruddha. Tiredness coming from overactivity or disease leads to the aggravation of Vata, thus putting you at a risk of getting afflicted with Vata disorders. If you forcibly eat something you clearly don't like, it's called Rit Viruddha, as it's going to lead to continual maldigestion. If you eat dry foods in dry regions and excessively oily foods in humid regions, it is called Desha Viruddha. If you eat hot and pungent foods in summer and cold and dry foods in winter, it is Kala Viruddha. Food not cooked properly due to inappropriate methods of roasting, frying, baking, and eating can be an example of Viruddhahar too. Improper cooking destroys prana of the food, So this needs to be avoided. So that's precisely how the other aspects of food incompatibility apply in Ayurvedic dietetics. Back in 1911, Dr. William Howard Hay had introduced the modern concept of food combinations and their impact on health. The Hay diet is a diet introduced by Dr. William Howard Hay in 1911. It is based on the premise that wrong food combining is one important cause for health problems. He personally had certain cardiovascular diseases that resolved losing 50 pounds in 3 months. The Hay diet thesis is that the combination of food affects the body. Post his studies, he concluded that proteins and carbs are digested differently. Carbohydrates are alkaline forming foods while proteins are acid forming foods. Although many people benefited from the Hay diet, it was a little intense and could also lead to loss of energy levels due to less calories after 4 weeks of following it. Hence, it was labeled as dissociated and was withdrawn due to lack of scientific backing. In the present time, modern medicine refutes the theory of food incompatibility. In fact, it says the digestive system is elegantly simple, yet mind-boggling in its speed, efficiency, and complexity. After you swallow your food, the order and eating combinations become irrelevant, and all chemical reactions occur based on whatever you eat. Be it any category of food, it gets digested through hydrolysis. Even though this is said to be true, and our bodies are designed to tolerate and correct all follies we do, we practically see the present state of health around the globe with new diseases cropping up at a rate we've never seen before. Which means there's something or maybe a lot of things that we are doing wrong to come to the present state of health. Not just that, since Ayurvedic texts go by Karya Karana Siddhanta, there has to be a causative factor behind every disease. There simply can't be a disease without causative factors. So, for a really long time now, Ayurvedic doctors have been drawing correlations between the patient's disease and the diet that he continually consumes. Majority of the diseases have an inflammatory pathology. There are several instances when the symptoms of the disease like pain and inflammation start disappearing gradually when diet changes are made by restricting incompatible and harmful foods. Despite modern medicine's claims of the theory of incompatibility being unscientific, here are 5 modern concepts that can be closely correlated to the science of incompatibility. Number 1, antagonism. Number 2, free radical formation. Number 3, allergies caused by certain foods. Number 4, food poisoning. And number 5, food additives. Same concepts, different packaging. Let's explore a few modern age food combinations and their effects on our body. Carbohydrates like bread, potatoes, bananas should not be consumed with lemons, lime, oranges, tomatoes, or other sour fruits. Fruit acid prevents carbohydrates from digesting. Fruit acid also favors the fermentation of carbohydrates. 2 concentrated proteins, if taken together, can lead to a number of immunologic disorders. Some of the examples could be milk and meat, milk and curd, milk and eggs. Protein and fat together. Cream, butter, oil with eggs and cheese are a no-no. We love our potato chips, don't we? Well, deep frying potatoes is an example of Sanskar Viruddha. The action of deep frying potatoes leads to the development of toxic substances like acrylamide, which can prove to be carcinogenic. Green tea or black tea with milk. Indian version of tea is not exactly how tea should be had if you're looking to benefit from the tea drinking. Boiling milk and tea leaves together can worsen hyperacidity and reduce the benefits of tea. Tea contains flavonoids called catechins, which have some beneficial effects on the heart. When milk is added to tea, the caseins in tea interact with the tea to reduce the concentration of the beneficial catechins. So it's always a better option to consume tea alone, though Ayurvedic doctors would actually never encourage tea consumption in general. Reheating oils like canola, corn, soya bean and sunflower generates HNE that increases the risk of cardiovascular diseases, stroke, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, liver disorders and cancer. We also advise against consumption of deep fried meat along with vegetables, because this may increase the risk of and could worsen diseases linked with chronic inflammation. Eating curd at night is the commonest Viruddhahar most of us know of. It has been found to worsen the symptoms of autoimmune disorders. That's exactly why we see a lot of rheumatoid arthritis patients at the clinics that complain of morning stiffness and pain after sour foods or curd consumption at night. Milk and yogurt interaction. As you know, consuming both together can precipitate milk inside the stomach that may irritate and induce vomiting. So, avoid milk and yogurt together. The white sauce, so popular in Europe, has in its recipe cream, milk, and salt. Milk is absolutely contraindicated with salt, so this preparation is unhealthy. What makes it even unhealthier is its use with meatballs, pork, and flesh of different types. This is because milk with flesh is incompatible and so is milk and salt. So there's a double incompatibility here. Milk and salt are added to most baked dishes like cakes and pastries. Pomegranate juice and grapefruit juice. These are both known to block the cytochrome P450-3A4 enzyme systems in the intestines and increase blood sugar levels and interfere with many medications you're taking. Taking these two juices together may synergize the above action. The unwanted side effects can emerge inside the body when two or more types of foods are consumed together. Such reactions can be less important on short term, but on long term, it can be fatal upon precipitating serious side effects. So, what diseases are we looking at as a result of long-term food incompatibilities? The unwanted effect of wrong food combinations are not limited up to just the gastrointestinal tract, but may hamper the major systems of the body. Incompatible foods can cause diseases of the endocrine system, immune system, digestive system, nervous system, and reproductive system. Symptoms to disorders ranging from fainting, neck stiffness, intoxication, abdominal distension, erysipelas, blindness, ascites, fistula, skin diseases like vitiligo, psoriasis, dermatitis, inflammatory disorders, gastrointestinal diseases like gastritis and vomiting, IBS, rhinitis, impotency, infertility, and even cancer, which kind of establishes the fact that the impact of wrong foods can be on most of the systems in the body. Experts in nutrition believe that these epigenetic changes due to long-term food incompatibility can affect the expression of certain genes. These could have implications for fetal development, cancer, aging, and other biological processes. The research in this field is in the early stages, and much is still unknown about this area of nutrition. Coming to the most important point, does Ayurveda have treatment modalities for Viruddhahara Roga? Absolutely. And how? We first begin by figuring the foods and food combinations that may have caused the symptoms and disease. A detailed history-taking session helps. The patient is advised to withdraw from all the combinations and is put on laghu or light foods that are to be consumed as and when he feels hungry until normal digestion is restored. He is prescribed medicines that will boost the digestive fire, that is called Deepan, and help with the digestion of accumulated ama, that is called Pachan, at the same time. Some of these medicines are Shunthi, Trikatu, Panchakola, Guduchi, Triphala. There will be a considerable change in this appetite and energy levels right from the first week of following this routine. If there are morbid doshas that cannot be neutralized with just internal medicines, therapies like Vaman and Viruddhahar that eliminate the doshas are prescribed along with strict pathya. Later, as a post-shodhan procedure, shaman therapy is initiated to pacify the doshas. So, if you carefully study drugs which qualitatively possess properties opposite to incompatible foods are used in combating habitual consequences of those foods. After complete cure, following the rules of eating, obeying the principles of Dinacharya, Ritucharya and Ratricharya, having discipline in life helps prevent the relapse of the disease and its symptoms. Last piece of advice. While the researchers can clearly establish the relation between certain diseases and exact food combinations that can lead to them, we can at least start by withdrawing the unwholesome combinations from our diets to study what positive results it brings to us individually. Doing this isn't asking for too much, right? If it shows no positive changes in the body in the longer run, we might as well get back to eating the way we like.